The manicured lawns and bright houses of Ypsilanti Township, Michigan, held a dark secret. Sisters, Nu and Lena, lived in a modest home on a quiet street. They were recent immigrants from Vietnam, having moved to the United States with hopes and dreams of a better future. The sisters yearned for the American dream, a vision of prosperity and happiness that seemed just within reach. They wanted a better life for themselves and their children, a life filled with opportunities and success. But behind the facade of their suburban life, a storm brewed. Nu, the elder sister, was quiet and reserved. She often kept her thoughts to herself, preferring to internalize her struggles rather than share them. She often bore the weight of responsibility for their household, managing the day-to-day tasks and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Lena, the younger, was known for her quick temper and sharp tongue. She was outspoken and unafraid to voice her opinions, often leading to heated arguments. Their contrasting personalities often clashed, leading to frequent disagreements and tension within the household. The stress of raising their children in a new country weighed heavily on them. The challenges of adapting to a new culture, language barriers, and financial struggles added to their burden. Their once close bond began to fray. The sisters, who had once been inseparable, now found themselves drifting apart, their relationship strained by the pressures of their new life. Nu often found herself looking at old photos, reminiscing about the past and the simpler times they had shared in Vietnam. Despite the challenges, both sisters were determined to make their new life work. They knew that giving up was not an option, and they continued to push forward, hoping that one day they would find the happiness and success they had dreamed of. As the sun rose over the suburban neighborhood, it brought with it a new day and a glimmer of hope. The sisters knew that their journey was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. The sisters' home was in constant disarray. Dirty dishes piled up in the sink, clothes lay scattered across the floor. The stench of unwashed laundry permeated the air. The chaos reflected their inner turmoil. They felt overwhelmed by the demands of motherhood and housework. Their frustrations simmered beneath the surface. Their children, caught in the crossfire, became increasingly unruly. The sisters struggled to discipline them. Their patience wore thin with each passing day. The once peaceful home became a battleground of frustration and resentment. A social worker, Sarah, was assigned to their case. She visited their home regularly, offering support and guidance. Sarah noticed the deteriorating condition of the house and the growing tension between the sisters. She warned them about the potential consequences. She urged them to seek help. The sisters, however, dismissed Sarah's concerns. They saw her as an intruder, a threat to their family. They resented her interference in their lives. They refused to acknowledge the severity of their situation. Their pride and stubbornness blinded them to the impending danger. One fateful day, Sarah arrived for a scheduled visit. The house was in its usual state of disarray. The children were running amok. Nu and Lena, at their wits' end, argued bitterly. Sarah, witnessing the chaotic scene, made a difficult decision. She decided to remove the children from the home for their own safety. For Nu and Lena, the loss of their children was unbearable. They felt a profound sense of failure and shame. They blamed Sarah for tearing their family apart. Their anger towards her intensified, morphing into a dangerous obsession. Section 5. The Breaking Point. Sarah continued to visit the sisters, hoping to reunite them with their children. She outlined the steps they needed to take: clean their home, attend parenting classes, and undergo counseling. She believed that with support and effort, they could rebuild their lives. Each visit, however, was met with resistance and hostility. The sisters made little progress in improving their living conditions. They skipped appointments and ignored Sarah's advice. Their anger festered, fueled by a growing sense of injustice and desperation. Section 6. A Visit Turned Fatal. On a sweltering July afternoon, Sarah made what would be her final visit. The sun blazed down, casting long shadows as she approached the house, unaware of the storm brewing inside. She stepped inside the house, unaware of the danger that lurked within. The air inside was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the bright, sunny day outside. The sisters, consumed by their rage, attacked her. Their faces twisted with anger, they unleashed their pent-up frustrations on Sarah, who had only come to help. The assault was brutal and merciless. Every blow, every strike, was fueled by years of unresolved conflict and bitterness. They showed no mercy, no remorse. Their eyes were cold, their hearts hardened by the weight of their grievances. Sarah's screams were muffled by the walls of the house. The once peaceful home had become a prison, trapping her cries within its confines. No one came to her rescue. The neighborhood, usually bustling with activity, was eerily silent. The phone, left off the hook, was a silent witness to the tragedy unfolding. The sisters, their anger spent, surveyed the scene. The room was a mess, a testament to the violence that had just occurred. They had silenced the one person who tried to help them. The phone lay silent, a crumpled note on the floor, a reminder of the help that never came. Now they were left with the horrifying consequences of their actions. The weight of their deeds pressed down on them, leaving them in a state of despair and regret. The house, once a home, was now a place of sorrow and loss. Section 7. Whispers of Jealousy. As news of the murder spread, shockwaves rippled through the community. Neighbors who once exchanged polite smiles now whispered amongst themselves. Some recalled overhearing heated arguments coming from the sisters' home. Others spoke of strange, unsettling encounters. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some speculated that the sisters harbored a dark secret, a deep-seated jealousy that fueled their rage. Others whispered about mental illness, about a break from reality. The truth, however, remained elusive, locked away in the minds of the two women who had committed an unspeakable act. The police investigation uncovered a trail of anger and resentment. Notes scribbled in Vietnamese filled with venomous words about Sarah were found in the house. The sisters' children, now in protective custody, revealed a history of neglect and abuse. The evidence against the sisters was overwhelming. They were arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Their trial captivated the nation, raising questions about the limits of social services and the devastating consequences of unchecked rage. The community of Ypsilanti Township grappled with the aftermath of the tragedy. Candlelight vigils were held in Sarah's honor. Her colleagues at the Department of Social Services mourned the loss of a dedicated and compassionate advocate. Parents questioned the safety of their own homes, wondering if such a horrific event could occur in their own backyards. The tragedy exposed the hidden vulnerabilities of suburban life, shattering the illusion of safety and security. After a lengthy trial, the jury reached a verdict. New and Lena were found guilty of first-degree murder. They were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge, in his closing remarks, spoke of the senseless loss of life and the devastating impact of their actions. Justice, it seemed, had been served. But the price of justice was steep. Two families were torn apart, forever linked by a shared tragedy. The children, robbed of their parents and their innocence, faced an uncertain future. The murder of Sarah sent shockwaves far beyond the borders of Ypsilanti Township. It was a tragedy that not only shook the local community, but also resonated across the nation, highlighting the vulnerabilities and dangers that many face in their daily lives. It served as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by social workers, who often walk into volatile situations with little protection. These dedicated individuals strive to make a difference, yet they are frequently met with unpredictable and sometimes perilous circumstances. The incident underscored the urgent need for better safety measures and support systems for those on the front lines of social work. It also ignited a national conversation about mental health, immigration, and the challenges of raising a family in modern America. The tragedy brought to light the systemic issues that many families face, from the lack of mental health resources to the complexities of navigating immigration laws. It prompted communities and policymakers to reevaluate and address these pressing concerns, striving for a more supportive and inclusive society. Years later, the scars of the tragedy remain. They are etched not only in the memories of those who knew Sarah, but also in the collective consciousness of the community. Memorials and old newspaper clippings serve as somber reminders of the day that changed everything, a day that left an indelible mark on the hearts of many. The house on the quiet suburban street stands empty, a haunting reminder of the day when rage and despair erupted into unimaginable violence. Once a home filled with laughter and life, it now stands as a silent witness to the horrors that unfolded within its walls. The yellow police tape and broken windows tell a story of a community's loss and the enduring impact of that fateful day. And the community, forever marked by the loss of Sarah, continues to search for answers and healing in the face of unspeakable tragedy. Vigils and town hall meetings have become a common sight as people come together to support one another and seek solutions to prevent such tragedies in the future. The journey towards healing is long and arduous, but the resilience and solidarity of the community offer a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness.